Fox 10 Gulfstream. This is Next Weather.
I'm meteorologist Nicholas Urboso. Thank you for checking out Next Weather here on Fox 10 News. Here's your day planner for your Friday. And as we can see, we're going to deal with some more clouds once again. So 86, 87 we're topping out. I've kept those forecast highs down just a smidge because of cloud cover expected tomorrow, that boundary off to our south. And that cloud cover really did some things to us today. In fact, here's the forecast highs. These are the unofficial highs, so keep that in mind. In fact, Mobile actually got to 81, but Fairhope around 77 for our high today. This is way below average. In fact, taking a look at the official report from Mobile Regional Airport, we hit 81 degrees today, which really the last time we hit 81 degrees as a forecast high was in late May. So we have to go all the way back to the 24th of May of this year when we had a day where our high temperature was 81 degrees. That's how long it's been. And normal 85 degrees, this is below average, believe it or not. But in the coming days, that changes and we go much warmer. The pattern changes just a little bit. 87 for tomorrow, as I mentioned, and then 92s for the weekend, a summer-like weekend almost, and staying warm for the early part of next week. But muggy meter, the dew points will be dropping very slightly. I mean, just a few degrees. And that means that we're getting a little bit deeper into the not bad category, meaning some nicer mornings for us with those hotter afternoons. What about rain chances for us? No, there are none really all the way through the weekend, early part of next week. The next thing that we're going to be looking at, our next kind of weather maker, will not come until the end of next week, and there's still a little model uncertainty in that one. Our focus for now is the drought. Drought monitor brand new for today, this Thursday. We have severe drought for pretty much the entire Fox 10 viewing area. Some of us also in extreme drought, which is indicated by this red color. You can see Mobile County and all the way Jackson, Georgia, and a little bit of Greene County there in Mississippi, all dealing with that severe drought and with low rain chances expected for at least the next 6 days. It's not looking good for our drought situation overall. In fact, our lawns will be struggling over the next week. And here's the upper level pattern kind of causing all this. Another ridge of high pressure builds over the central United States. Not as strong as the ones we saw over summer, but still a pretty potent ridge. And this thing sits over the central United States over the weekend and into the early part of next week, but then begins to retreat just a little bit. And you see this trough. A little dip in the jet stream here, and possibly some cooler air moving into the United States as we get into the end of the upcoming week. What this trough will do at the surface will send a boundary our way. A little disagreement on how strong the boundary is, but it's very possible that we could see some changes in the extended outlook. I want to give you a preview of the extended outlook. We're going to look at this again later. 92 degrees for the weekend, very warm. That's when that ridge of high pressure is building in, so you notice we're staying warm. However, that ridge of high pressure bringing in just a little bit of dry air. So you see the morning temperatures cooling down just a bit, and then you see here as we get towards Thursday, that little 20%, that's when we're possibly looking at our next system that might be moving our way, next rain chance for us. All right, now we're going to take a look at the tropics, and we have two storms that we're tracking out there right now. This is Philippe and Rina. Philippe is off to the west, closer towards the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti. You can see it here, dealing with some shear right now. Then Rina, which formed right on its tail, some thunderstorms a little closer to the center of this one. This is an interesting forecast meteorologically. There's some interesting science going on here because these systems are so close together. Also, looks like they're going to remain relatively weak. They're being sheared right now. And I want to show you the forecast models for Philippe. How often do you see the spaghetti models diverging in two different directions? Yes, so there's some uncertainty specifically with Philippe, a little bit more certainty with Rina. But let's go over what we know right now for Philippe and Rina. Philippe is a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm struggling with shear. As you can see, the center of the storm, center of circulation located right here, but all the thunderstorms are off to the east of the system, indicating shear with this. Similar story with Rena, also dealing with shear, a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm, kind of a generally similar strength. However, you notice there are just a few thunderstorms a little closer towards the center of Rena, but it's still dealing with a little bit of shear. In fact, you can see in the clouds off on the far side of the picture here, blowing off. That's kind of indicating some of that shear, showing you where some of that shear is. I want to show you one forecast model, what might happen with these two systems. This is not at all a certainty. In fact, there's been a lot of model disagreement, but here it is. This is the European forecast model. As we go through Friday, we can see Philippe inching closer, very slow movement with Philippe towards the islands. Rena is right on its tail. And then you see they get really, really close together. Maybe some rain impacts for the Windward Islands, Lesser Antilles here before Rena kind of interacts a little bit with it, gets shot off to the north while Philippe is still sitting near the islands, heavy rain possible there. Then these systems finally start to move north. Remember that trough I talked about earlier? That will eventually make its way off towards the Atlantic, and that will help to pull these up just a little bit and then finally send them out into the middle of the Atlantic. So it's a complicated forecast. This forecast model will definitely change in the coming days, and it has changed from when we did this last here yesterday. So we're going to be watching these models closely. It's going to be an interesting one to watch for sure, science-wise, some interesting interactions with these two storms. So here we are for hurricane names this year, and we've gotten all the way. Philippe and Rena still active. We're making our way down on that list. All right. So with rain chances heading down for now, meteorologist Michael White is going to tell us if wetter months could appear before the year ends. Here he is with that story.
Nick, I know Jason's busy at his weightlifting competition. You're doing a great job filling in for him on Next Weather. And you're right about talking about the rain chances going down. It does not look like we're going to be seeing much of anything regarding rain or storms as we head into this weekend or even next week. But that's to be expected. We're headed into October. It's on average our driest month of the year, and the QPF is reflecting that. This is a look at the estimated precipitation that takes us all the way through next Wednesday evening, and you can see, or Thursday morning, or Thursday evening rather, and you can see as we zoom in that all of the rain, projected rain, is going to be out over the Gulf waters or out over the Florida Peninsula, and down here around our section of the Gulf Coast, there wouldn't be anything. We would be absolutely bone dry, and that's the reason why the chances of rain are going to be so low and why we're going with that in our forecast. Now, we have talked about humidity going down. Nick, I know you pointed that out, and we've also talked about the afternoon highs staying hot. And you know, seasonal outlooks, long-range outlooks almost mean nothing. But this is from the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center. This is a little glimpse ahead at how things will look for the month of October, November, December as a whole, a 3-month average. And it looks like we would start to see at least seasonal temperatures. The chance of above average temperatures for us would be very low. And that's good. That means we would at least be where we should be for the majority of that 12-week period. And as far as rainfall in that 12-week period, we would see possibly above average rainfall, and that would help us with drought conditions. So even though October is going to start off dry, and chances are that month is going to be mostly dry, we may have wetter weather as we head in toward November, December, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holiday season, and hopefully some colder temperatures too. So even though you can't put a lot of stock in those long-range outlooks, it's nice to at least see that the chances are there for a big pattern flip compared to all of the heat we've been dealing with throughout August and September. Well, I'll be back in the saddle on Friday morning for another edition of Good Day Gulf Coast. We're going to be talking about your high school football forecast, and we'll have a detailed look and an updated look at how things are going to shape up for the upcoming weekend. Hope you have a good night. Nick?
All right, thank you very much, Michael. Let's review this 7-day forecast for us. So starting with Friday and football forecast, that's going to be important, and it looks like temperatures will be at a reasonable point. It's getting to the 80s by the time we get towards kickoff, then going towards 70s. And for your weekend, almost summer-like as we get into the start of October. And as Michael mentioned, some drier air as we get through this kind of extended pattern, no rain chances, and then temperatures in the mornings dropping a little bit because of that drier air. And Michael showed you the QPF, the quantitative precipitation forecast, all the way through Thursday early. And as you can see, it makes sense, absolutely zip. But after that, believe it or not, we could have a little bit of something, even though the models are still disagreeing just a little bit. So here it is. Right now, I'm including a little bit of a chance of rain on Friday, the chance for spotty showers with that system that might come through that trough that we saw there on the GFS. So that's the kind of story for us. But for the weekend, looking very, very hot, so get ready for it. If you're heading down to the beaches, remember that moderate to high risk of rip currents this weekend. All right, thank you so much for joining us here on Next Weather.